What's up guys, Team TPA with another video, and today I have an exciting deck profile. This is Raditz. It's a deck I've been working on for the last couple of days. It's been really good in testing. As you'll see in our next video, we have a battle with it, so not going to get too much into that, but starting off our leader, it's Raditz. He's a green leader. Every time he swings to a leader, your opponent's leader, your opponent must warp a card. It's really good because it kind of hand controls, and warping instead of discarding is more impactful because they can't really get those cards back. So really good. He has an active main. Once per turn, you can look at the top 5 and then you grab a Raditz, Nappa, or Vegeta. And then if you add a card, you discard a card, which is unfortunate, but we gotta make it work. And then another unfortunate thing is that when he awakens, he only untaps one. So on the flip side, you still warp if your opponent still warps if you swing at a leader. And he has another active main. Once per turn, you can give +5 to one of your battle cards on the battle. So really cool. The leader itself isn't all that powerful, but it's the cards that you can run that make it playable. Especially this card. This is the new Raditz 1-drop from the Magnificent Collection, and this is what made me want to play the deck, because it fixes the main issue Raditz has, which is just having a hand size, because you just don't get hand size off of the deck itself. So this helps it a lot. So for every battle card that's warped, that's non-black, you draw a card. That's one of the first autos. The second auto, you really don't use all that much. You just take a life and you KO. That's a 1-drop or less. Very, very good. You draw like 3 to 2 cards by turn 3 or turn 4, depending on the matchup. So for him, next up, we're playing 4 Brawlies. This is a really cool 1-drop play we can do because there's so many little things you can do. He looks at the top 7 and adds a Brawly. So we'll get into those Brawly targets later. I'm playing 3 Newfound Power Son Gohan. This whole list is going to change, so obviously we're going to play 4 of this, but now we're just playing 3. Being able to swing with leader turn 1 if you're on the draw. They warp a card, they gain no advantage off of it, and then you play this 1-drop and you swing, and if they don't negate and take that crit, they lose an additional resources and they're taking damage. So they're gaining no advantage off of their life, so which is really cool about this interaction here. Next up, 2 Raditz. This card's bad, don't play it. I only play it because for the leader ability and just a generic draw 1. But it's completely bad. It's just, I'm not even going into details why it's bad. We all know it's bad. Next up, Nappa. Pretty decent. I mean, I really don't use it for its auto. It's very rare. I just use it because it's a multicolor that you can search off your leader if you're lucky enough. It can't be KO'd, and then also its auto. You pitch a card and you look at the top 10. You add 2 Nappas or 2 Vegetas and 2 Raditz, or you can do 1 and 1 depending on, and could be red and green. So it searches a lot, like 90% of your deck. So pretty decent there, but it's mostly just energy and combo for a rival. Next up is our Vegeta. This is just a simple 2-drop that once per turn you take a life and you get critical. It's not as good as your Newfound Power Son Gohan because they can obviously negate. They can negate the Newfound, but like they have to negate first before you use auto. So that's why Newfound is better. Next up, this is one of the targets for our 1-drop Brawly. This is our multicolor Brawly. It has energy exhaust, but we can avoid that if we have another multicolor that's not itself. So it's a free multicolor charge on turn 2. It's really powerful. Also, if pitches a card when you play it, which does come up in certain matchups to get more hand destruction in. Another cool Brawly target that I'm really liking is the 2-drop. Now the 2-drop is pretty good because on your early stages of your game, you're going to be using this, but you don't want to pitch a card that, you know, you can't really use off of it. So this is a really cool card you can pitch and then use later on in the game. What he does is that you tap 2 green. If your leader is green, you just play him. So he's a 2 energy from the discard pressure, which is pretty decent. Next up, our super combo. This is the best super combo you can run. It just filters your deck so much and then helps you fix your hand. Next up, our 2-drop. This is a 3-drop, but we all know it's going to be a 2-drop. This is really cool because you can speed up that process of warping cards. The more cards you warp, the better, because you're going to be drawing a lot off of your 1-drops, and it helps you control the board. Next up, for our rival, we're running this, but this is going to change. We're going to be running Champa and Beerus. The whole deck is going to change completely, so for now we're just running this. A rival, red-green, top red, and then it KOs a 20k and that's pretty much it. And it's got double strike, so it's a decent finisher. Next up, for our last Brawly card, we're running this. I am running the 5-drop instead of this because trying to get to like 5 energy is really hard. So the 5-drop's a little better because it taps 4 and it's realistically going to be used more often than this, because this just trying to get to 5 is really hard. But I played it because I knew I was playing slow decks tonight, so I was able to afford to play that card instead. For my negates, 2 Shock and Death Ball, 2 for the Greater Good. For the Greater Good is really good off your leader to pitch, and then when you search, and then later negate if you need it. It's really good against like Kaioken's decks when they go all in and they forget about it. Next up, Hidden Power of the Saiyans. Now this is a negate. This is really rare. I do like this card, but like there's sometimes I like Preemptive Strike because it actually negates. This, like, they have to pitch to and then they can negate. Obviously, if they're running like a Victor Strike where they only need to do 1 damage, they win. So like if they have more than 2 cards, then this card's useless. But it can come up because you're playing hand destruction, hand control. So like sometimes I've been in games where they can't afford to discard 2, and this card's amazing. But sometimes it's not good enough. And last but not least, this is a tech card. This is recommended to me by a teammate. This is a remote serious bomb. It's a pretty simple 1 energy play where you warp one of your opponent chooses one of their cards and warps it. Now that's very important in this deck because it gets you more cards in the warp. The more cards in the warp, the better, because you're going to be drawing a lot more cards off of this card. So yes, it's a -1, but like in the long run, you're going to be drawing a lot, and then you're controlling the board really heavily. So it becomes so good. So that's the deck, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoy. The battle between Raditz and Yellow Brawly is coming up right after this video, probably tomorrow. So let me know what you guys think. Hopefully you guys enjoy, and TTPA will be signing out. See you guys.